Hi YouTube. Uh, I just felt the need to make a video here. I've been away from my channel for actually quite some time, and I've had a lot of work to do personally within myself, and I'm accomplishing great things in that area. And I felt the need to continue making content for you that's interesting and has something useful to add. There were lots of things I could have made videos on. There's things going on out in the world, very serious issues going on in the world, especially for those of us who can see with new eyes. And it's actually terrifying in some senses. But I think I just want to focus on this. I have Johannes Gutenberg. I thought a good place to start would be where printed type was first started in the Western world. Where did printed type come from, and what were the first books printed? Who was in control of all of that? I think that's for some reason that subject interested me, and I thought it might be something interesting to go into. You'll have to forgive me if I have pauses. I'm not very good at doing videos, and I hope to get better at that so I can, provide interesting content and make it worth your while to watch. I appreciate everybody who has subbed my channel while I was away. I finally unlocked my channel, and I was shocked, and I'm excited to be able to continue um, providing content to people that are looking, that are questioning what's going on in this reality. I want to say thank you to all of the other content providers on YouTube that really make great content that I've been interested in lately. Most notably, people like Autodidactic, John Levy, Wooden Nichols, Flat Earth British, lots of many other channels that I've been watching lately, and are on interesting subjects. And I think what we find is we find breadcrumbs along the way as we go, like other providers have mentioned. We find breadcrumbs, and yes, I believe the breadcrumbs have been tampered with, and but we do the best we can, and that's what I'm good at actually, is looking at information and cross-referencing that with other information to get the bigger picture. And it's not that we'll ever know exactly what happened in history, but I do believe history was tampered with. Of course it was. And so it's interesting for me to kind of go along that pathway of looking at, like, in the very beginning, who was in control of those things. So let's just get started right away. Thanks for joining me. Johannes Gutenberg. It's from Wikipedia. So Gutenberg was born February 3rd, 1468, was a German goldsmith, inventor, printer, and publisher who introduced printing to Europe with the printing press. His introduction of mechanical movable type printing to Europe started the printing revolution and is regarded as a milestone of the second millennium, ushering in the modern period of human history. It played a role in the development of the Renaissance, Reformation, the Age of Enlightenment, and the Scientific Revolution, and laid the material basis for the modern knowledge-based economy and the spread of learning to the masses. Yeah, that's incredible. So the Reformation was a movement within Western Christianity in the 16th century, and the Renaissance marked the transition of the Middle Ages to modernity and covers the 15th and 16th century. Very interesting time right there, 15th, 16th century. And here's another very interesting thing. Around that time, the Age of Enlightenment was an intellectual and philosophical movement that dominated the world of ideas in Europe during the 17th to 19th centuries. And the scientific revolution was a series of events that marked the emergence of modern science during the early modern period, when developments in mathematics, physics, astronomy, biology, and chemistry transformed the views of society and nature. That's all they'll do there. So yes, in 1439 he created the first movable type, and among his many contributions to printing are the inventions of a process for mass-producing movable type, the use of oil-based ink for printing books, adjustable molds, mechanical movable type, and the use of wooden printing press similar to agricultural screw presses of the period. And you guys can look at this yourselves and read further into this. Now it says he was born of a certain type of family called Patrician, born to a Patrician family. And so I looked up Patrician. What does that mean? So the first information on Wikipedia we have is from ancient Rome. Patrician, they were originally a group of ruling class families in ancient Rome. The distinction was highly significant in the Roman kingdom and the early republic, but its relevance waned after the conflict of orders 1494 to 287 BC. And by the time of the late Republic and Empire, membership in the patriciate was only nominal significance. So this had to do with social structure and the ruling class. What was that again? It showed. Let's go back and look here again. Let's see. Yeah, I think it was here. There we go. I think this is it. Now that's interesting, because the first time I looked this up, I found it said he was born of a patrician family. So this is interesting stuff. So here we go. So Gutenberg started experimenting with printing by 1438 and 1450. Gutenberg obtained backing from the financier Johann Fust, whose impatience and other factors led to Gutenberg's loss of his establishment to Fust several years later. Wow. Gutenberg's masterpiece and the first book ever printed in Europe from movable type is a 42-line Bible completed no later than 1450. It says he was born of a modest merchant family in Mons, Germany. When a craftsman revolt erupted in Mons during the noble class of 1428, Gutenberg family was exiled and settled in what is now Strasbourg, France. That's interesting, though. So I believe he's from a patrician family, and it talks about this, which, look at that, very interesting, like, map there. It's Mediterranean. The conflict of orders was referred to as a struggle of the orders, was a political struggle between the plebeians, the commoners, and patricians, the aristocrats of the ancient Roman Republic, lasting from 500 BC to 287 BC. the very first book, one of the first books was the Bible. So we all know who was in charge of the Bible. So we know that the church in those days, and probably still today, obviously, got their fingers into everything. And so keeping track of knowledge and how knowledge was provided to the rest of the world was very important. What the narrative was would control the people with the narrative. And now we kind of see today the ultimate, the ultimate example or product of the control of what we believe, what we believe of where we live, who we are, has all, I believe, been all hidden from us. And I know I'm not alone there. Also, the Chinese made printing. The Chinese had, I believe, some of the oldest books, a lot of the oldest books, handwritten books. But the Chinese had block printing, which utilized panels of hand-carved wood blocks in the reverse. There's other civilizations, societies that had different types of printing, like the Sumerians and many others. So we're mainly talking about Western printing, though. So I'll put some links. I'll put links to these things in here. Here's the 36-line Bamberg Bible. Interesting. So with books being printed, then they could control our history, what happened, and any scientific, from that scientific age that they talked about. They could present their model or theory of what they thought the universe was like, or what the earth was like, and then put that narrative out to the rest of the world. Okay, so back to Gutenberg. Later in life, in 1462, and Mons was sacked by Archbishop Adolf II in a dispute over control of the city, and Fust and Gutenberg's printing businesses were destroyed by this dude. This guy destroyed the businesses. Many of the city's typographers fled to other parts of Germany and Europe, taking their techniques and technology with them. Gutenberg remained in Mons, but once again fell into poverty. The archbishop granted him the title of Hofmann, Gentleman of the Court, in 1465, which provided a salary and privileges for services rendered. Gutenberg carried on his printing activities for several more years, but little evidence exists of what he actually published because he didn't put his name on any of the printings. Interesting. Records of Gutenberg's later years are as sketchy as his early life. Still living in Mons, it is believed that he went blind in the last months of his life. He died February 3rd, 1468, and was buried in the church of the Franciscan convent in the nearby town of Eltville, Germany. So very interesting. Let's just look up some more. Let's go a little deeper if we can. Someplace here. Okay, so I found it. So here's this interesting part about Gutenberg's life early in life. The youngest son of a patrician merchant. And it says patricianship, the quality of belonging to the patriciate, began in the ancient world where cities such as ancient Rome had a class of patrician families whose members were initially the only people allowed to exercise many political functions. Wow. See, I thought that was pretty interesting. That's amazing. Alright, oops. Can I go? Yeah, pretty interesting. So there were seemed to be like nobles. So I believe the nobles always had control of printing, the media, whatever kind of media was coming out. And so, let me check something out here. So I would look at, never found this in one place though. The different civilizations, all civilizations had this view of a flat earth. So that is one of the things that was early printed, drawn up were maps. So where they would go out and discover things and draw maps. And that way they could propagate the view of the world that they wish to have people believe. Anyway, I thought that would be a good start. Thank you for bearing with me here. It's been a little bit take me a while to get used to doing this until I can start making some better content and keep learning, and so hopefully we can keep doing this together and keep discovering what is hidden from us, because there's a lot that's hidden. There's a lot we don't know and a lot we have not been told. And so where we actually live is one of those things we have not been told about. So here we go. I'll leave you with this. This is only 9 views, 9 different major civilizations: the Mayans, the Navajo, Inca, the Norse, Celtic, Chinese, Egyptian, Hebrew, and Hindu. They all had their worldview, their cosmology was this, which is what we now believe that's where we are. We're in this. So I hope everybody has a great day. Thank you for staying with me here. And I'll talk to you the next time. Have a great day. Bye now.